Hi guys, my name is Chelsea. I'm going to teach yoga for anxiety. I create 15-minute videos on YouTube in the hopes that people will find the time in their day to utilize the information. I know everybody's busy, and this is my third video I've created, and I'm going to do a follow-up video afterwards, maybe tomorrow, and I'm going to do yoga for depression. So in yoga, traditionally, depression is seen as either characterized by a rajasic state, which is, symptoms of anxiety and restlessness, or a tamasic state, which is characterized by inertia and hopelessness. So sort of both ends of the spectrum. And the goal with yoga with the perspective of depression through this prism is to bring the person into a sattvic state, or a state of peace and clarity, through exercises such as asana or postures, breathing exercises or pranayama, and meditation. So we're going to start today with a breathing exercise called the Ujjayi breath, or the victorious breath, or ocean sounding breath. So what's different about this one from other breathing exercises is there's an audible sound, and it's not just an exercise you do in isolation from the physical practice. It's something that you can use throughout the postures throughout the entire class. So find a comfortable seated position, and I will demonstrate what this sounds like. There's a slight, very, very slight constriction through the throat, just enough to create sort of like a whispering sound. So as you inhale, it sounds like this. And as you exhale, so you want to make sure that the inhalation is big and full, and you're taking in as much air as you can, filling up the lungs completely. And then with the exhale, make sure that you keep the focus on pushing all of the air out of the lungs, lengthening the exhalation as long as you can before you take the next in-breath. So we're going to create this sound and bring it into a little bit of movement. So come into a standing position on your mat. Come into mountain pose, or Tadasana. So bring your feet directly underneath the hip bones. Bring the outside edges of the feet parallel to one another so that you might be slightly pigeon-toed. Allow the knees to be straight but not locked. So there's a slight bend. Soften the shoulders. Turn the palms of the hands to the front of the mat. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale fully and completely. And when you're ready, come up to the front of the mat. Take another deep breath in, inhaling. And as you exhale, step back with the right foot, creating about one leg length between the feet. So you'll notice the back toes, or the right toes, are facing the long edge of the mat, and the front toes are facing the short edge of the mat. And to get the proper alignment, you can draw an invisible line from the front heel to the arch of the back foot. If you want to adapt the stance so that it suits you, you can play around with that. You can bring more space in between the legs or less space. And the hips are at about a 45-degree angle, so they're not facing directly over the front foot, but they're not directly over the side either. They're sort of halfway between. Inhale. Float the arms up to shoulder height. Exhale, soften the shoulders. Inhale fully. And exhale, coming forwards into Trikonasana, or triangle pose. So from here, there's a little bit of a rotation happening through the hips. The front hip bone comes down, the left hip bone comes up, and the torso comes out over top of the front leg. As you come into this pose, you want to keep the shoulders sort of stacked on top of one another. So there's a slight twist through the spine here, bringing the right shoulder to stack over top of the left, And then dropping the left hand down in front of the left leg, reaching the right hand up towards the sky and turning the gaze upwards if this is comfortable for your head, neck, and shoulders. Otherwise, turn your gaze towards the floor. Stay connected to your breath here, and I'm going to demonstrate the use of a yoga block, which may be helpful. There's 3 different heights on these, so you can place your hand on the top of the block at whichever height is appropriate for you, depending on your flexibility and where you are in your practice. So I'm going to start on the highest one for here. And then just connecting to that ocean sounding breath, inhaling and exhaling. If you have any tension through the neck, feel free to turn the gaze down towards the floor. And you can hold for a few more rounds of breath if you want to. Otherwise, inhale, come back up to standing. And switching to the other side, pick your block up, bring both of the toes to face the long edge of the mat, and then rotate the right toes over to the right side. And again, visually drawing that invisible line from the front heel to the arch of the back foot. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, relax the shoulders. Inhale, turn the gaze over the front fingertips. Exhale, hinge forwards at the waist. Again, bringing the arm over the right leg, bringing the torso out over top, and then there's a slight twist through the upper body, stacking those shoulders one on top of the other, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. And again, positioning the block at whatever height is appropriate. It may be different from one side to the other. Connecting to that ocean sounding breath, and then again, looking down if there's any discomfort in the neck and shoulders on this side. Inhale, come back to standing. And pick up your toes, turn both feet to face the front edge of the mat, and you can bring both of the blocks in front of you this time. And then again, take a minute to draw 2 parallel lines with the outside edges of the feet, so the toes may be slightly pigeon-toed. Keep the knees straight, but not locked. Inhale, lift the crown of the head. Exhale, begin to hinge forwards at the waist. Coming down at least halfway with a flat back, and then finding the blocks and connecting your hands to the blocks at whatever height's comfortable for you. Or if you don't need them, just place them to the side for now. Bring your hands onto the ground and allow the crown of the head to drop down towards the earth. Inhale fully. Exhale, begin to walk your hands over towards the right ankle. If you're using your blocks, bring the blocks with you. Exhale, drop the crown of the head towards the earth. Inhale, come back through center. And over to the left side. Feel free to hold this pose for a little bit longer if you'd like. When you're ready, come back to center. Reconnect your hands to your hips, bringing your torso up halfway. And slowly coming back up to standing. Gently bring your feet together, heels and toes, heels and toes, heels and toes. And then gently make your way onto the mat into a seated position. If you'd like, you can use a cushion underneath your hips to help create a comfortable seated position and to keep your lower back elevated. Keep your knees slightly bent. And if you notice that you're rounding through the spine, definitely bring a cushion under your sit bones. Sometimes you might not need it, so that's up to you. And once you're comfortable, extend the legs out to a wide-legged seated position. Turn your toes to face the ceiling. Allow your feet to gently roll open to the sides. Inhale, extend the crown up towards the sky. Exhale, hinge forwards at the hips, coming into a wide-legged seated fold. Again, allow the head, neck, and shoulders to stay relaxed. Keep space between the shoulders and the ears. If you'd like to use a bolster, you can. You can place it underneath you in whatever position is comfortable. And if you don't have one of these, feel free to use a pillow or a rolled up blanket. Holding here for a few more rounds of breath. For the purpose of the video, I'm not going to demonstrate that because I want to keep it short. When you're finished, inhale, come back to seated. Exhale, turn the torso to face over the right leg, and exhale, gently walking the torso out over the leg. Again, feel free to use a bolster if you want something for support. Your hands can rest on the ground, on your leg, or wherever is really comfortable. And then just connecting to that ocean-sounding victorious breath. As you inhale, lengthen the torso, lengthen the spine, reach out through the crown of the head, and as you exhale, relax into the fold. Inhale, come back up through center, and exhale, switch sides. Inhale, come back to center. Gently remove the bolster and place your hands behind you, lean back. Bring the soles of the feet together, coming into Baddha Konasana or bound angle pose, also known as butterfly pose. The feet can be as close to the torso or as far away as is comfortable for you. If this is creating any pressure on the knees, you can place blocks underneath the knees to give them a little bit of support. And try moving the feet a little bit further away, moving them a little bit closer, and just notice how it changes the dynamic of the position. Take a nice deep breath in, lift the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. Exhale, soften the shoulders, relax. And if you'd like, you can hinge forwards to deepen the posture. And again, feel free to use a bolster here if you'd like, placing it underneath your torso for support. Connect to the breath and hold here, inhaling and exhaling completely. On an inhalation, begin to walk the torso back up to seated. Take the props out of the way and come onto your knees. Coming into a pose called camel pose. If you'd like, you can keep a pillow underneath your knees, or you can fold the mat up to give them a little bit more support, just to create a little bit of a cushion underneath the bone here. And then bringing your legs to about hips width apart. Tops of the feet are flat on the mat. Take a nice deep breath in, lift the crown of the head up towards the sky. Exhale, soften the shoulders. Bring the hands onto the lower back. Take another deep breath in. Imagine that there's a string coming out of your heart center, lifting your chest up towards the sky. And as you exhale, push forwards with your hip bones, coming into a front body opening here. Allow the head to fall back if it's comfortable for you. And if you are more advanced in your practice, or if you're more flexible and you're comfortable doing so, you can bring your hands down onto your heels for the full expression of the pose. Continuing to draw the hips forwards, draw the heart up, and stay connected to the breath. When you're ready, on an inhalation, bring your hands back onto your lower back. Come all the way back up. And as a counter pose, come into child's pose. So dropping the hips onto the heels, the knees can stay together, or if it's more comfortable for you, you can bring the knees out to the outside edge of the mat. Exhale, come forwards all the way onto the forehead. You can place a cushion underneath your forehead or a block, or you can create two fists. Otherwise, you can bring your forehead all the way down onto the mat. Arms can be out in front of you with the palms facing down, or if it's more comfortable for your shoulders, bring the arms beside you with the palms facing up. Allow your breath to return to its natural state, and allow the body begin to drop down into the earth to relax. Relax. Inhale, slowly roll back up to seated. And allow your hips to slide off of the heels. Extend your legs out in front of you, and then take one knee. So we'll start with the right side into a half hero's pose. If there's any tension on the knee, you can try putting a cushion underneath the hip bones and see if that relieves it. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, bring your hands behind you, and gently begin to walk back until you can feel a sensation or a stretch through the front of the body. If you'd like, you can come down onto your elbows onto the forearms. And if you still aren't feeling much of a stretch, you can come down all the way on to the back, laying flat on the ground. Just allowing the breath to soften here. And if you want a little bit of a deeper stretch through the hips, you can place the left foot on the mat with a bent knee, and then just supporting yourself, begin to press down through the left foot, drawing the right knee towards the ground. And when you're ready, straighten the left leg. Come back up onto the elbows, the forearms, and slowly begin to walk back up to a seated position. Then bringing your hands out to the left side, release the right leg slowly and gently. Come into a tall seated position and gently rock the feet from side to side, just to give the knee a little bit of a release. And coming into reclined hero's pose on the second side, walk your hands over to the right, take the left leg back. Again, sit up nice and tall, reaching the crown of the head up towards the sky. Inhale fully. Exhale. If you'd like, you can begin to walk back, coming onto the elbows or the forearms. Notice how this feels. If you're getting enough of a stretch here, you can stay here. Otherwise, you can walk all the way down onto the mat. And if you want a little bit more intensity still, you can bend the right knee, place the right foot on the mat, and press into the mat with the right foot and draw the left knee towards the front of the mat and down towards the ground. Gently extend the leg forwards, come back onto the forearms, up onto the hands, walk your hands over to the right side, release the left leg forwards, gently rock the feet from side to side. And when you're ready, make your way down into shavasana. Laying flat on the back, hands facing the ceiling. Allow the eyes to close. Allow the breath to relax. And allow yourself a few minutes to decompress, to let the body relax, and to just absorb all the benefits from the practice. Namaste.